So we're getting ready for Prima Notte.
Yeah.
And we just got a phone call. And what did they say, Susie?
We were the only ones that had signed up for it.
We're the only ones that
So we
signed
get a
up for it.
private wine tasting.
So they're going to do it a half hour early just to be more convenient for us.
Yes.
Which means we can drink even more tonight.
Well, it means we'll be done sooner so we can hit the bars.
So let's go to Prima Notte.
Yes.
We recently did a cruise out of Galveston on the Disney Magic, where we went to Progreso, Mexico. Mm-hmm. And one of the things we did, something we've never done before, it's Prima Notte.
It is.
And we'll, I guess, discuss if it was worth it and what it was like and if we would do it again.
Yeah.
So Prima Notte, if you've never heard of it, basically it's a first night experience on the ship. They usually run 2 iterations, one at like 6 and one at 8:30, maybe 7, 8:30, mm-hmm. You know, evening stuff. Mm-hmm. And it is a multi-course small plate.
Little tasters.
Yeah, with wine pairings in Palo.
Right.
How did you find this? I hadn't heard of it prior to this, beyond like, I'd heard you talking about it, but I'd never seen it. Like,
usually pretty hard to get reservations.
Yeah, I'd never seen it in the list.
Yeah, we snagged it this time and we did it. I was worried about going to the first night's dinner, and one of the bartenders said, you know, as long as you eat light, it won't be a problem, and it wasn't, because the portions at the wine tasting is so small. I mean, they're wonderful, but they are small. So if you want to go and meet your waiter on that first night and your table mates and stuff, I'd keep it to appetizers and a soup or something, but you could, you know, it would be still fine.
Yeah, and I'm really glad we did.
Yeah.
Because for the first time ever, our table mates were so awesome.
They were. We had a great time.
Yeah, I really enjoyed meeting them and having meals with them, seeing them around the ship. They were just such wonderful people.
Yeah.
It was totally worth going there and kind of establishing that relationship. At first, we had great staff. So definitely go to your dinner, just if for no other reason than that.
Right.
Also, go to Soul Cat and get a drink, and Guillermo will give you that great advice about not having too much before you go.
Well, because he was the bartender at Palo.
That's right.
In the evening, so we got to see him again.
We did. Well, that'll be right after Prima Notte.
Yes.
So we get up to Prima Notte, and we're dressed pretty nicely. This is definitely a collared shirt, slacks. They do allow blue jeans, but they kind of recommend you
don't have to worry about bringing a suit jacket.
Not a suit and tie.
Or I think I was in just a jumper. There was no dress.
Yeah. Normally we would look around and see what other people were wearing and kind of give you some comparisons. But we were the only ones who were.
They called and said we could come early because nobody else had signed up for it, which I think is very unusual.
Yeah.
But our cruise wasn't that full.
No, it wasn't. The one prior to us was completely full.
Yeah, the earlier that evening.
Yes, and so when they called and said, do you want to come? You're the only 2 people who are signed up. We were actually pretty glad to get there at 8 instead of 8:30.
Yeah.
I think it kind of made the transition of the evening nice. Yeah, it had been a long day. So we got there, they sat us down, and what we're going to describe might be a little different because we were the only people, but I think the general theme of what's going on is the same.
Yeah.
But I do think it impacted how I perceived the overall event a little bit. So they bring you out 4 courses.
Yeah.
And each one, I won't say it's a bite, but it's not a lot. Like,
It's about a bite.
Yeah, like the gnocchi had a gnocchi.
Right.
But the steak was a little bit more substantial. It was probably 2 ounces or so.
Yeah.
The fish was a couple ounces.
Yeah. It was enough for you to taste the variety that they're giving you and also to pair it with the wine.
Right.
But it wasn't, I wouldn't call it a meal.
No, but if you put the appetizer from dinner, the 2 together, pretty good meal.
Or you're always welcome to go get a piece of pizza by the pool afterwards too. You know, I wouldn't stress about food on it.
I mean, we did.
Well, not knowing what to expect, you know, that's why we do this.
Yes. Well, and that's what was neat about it. I don't know that we need to get into each thing we had or each of the wines, because I actually think it probably changes
I think it does.
pretty frequently because they were making a point that the meals they were bringing out were the individual chef specialties and were based on the fresh ingredients they were able to bring on the ship at that time. So if you're cruising out of, say, Southampton, your fresh ingredients may be different even at the same time of the year than at Galveston or Orlando. So I think what we had is probably less important than what the experience was.
Oh yeah, and it was a lovely experience.
It was. I always enjoy like a reason to get a little dressed up,
Sure.
get some fancy food, have a couple of drinks.
Some wine.
I think with Prima Notte, I expected a little bit of a class experience. You know, kind of like the champagne tastings, what we did on our first night on, was it the Disney Wish?
Yeah, that was on the Wish.
That was kind of educational. You get to learn a little bit. This one, I think it had that same thing, but because we were the only two people, he wasn't speaking to the room, he was just speaking to us, and so it was kind of like, here's what you need to know.
It sped things up a
Now let
little
me get
bit.
out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were in and out probably 50 minutes.
Yeah.
Whereas this is normally more of like an hour to an hour and a half.
Which is hard to drink 4 glasses of wine.
I had no trouble. I don't know what she's talking about. I roared through them. They did top us off a couple times.
Yeah.
And none of what I'm saying has anything to do with the quality of the food or the wine or the
No,
experience.
it's just a fluky thing that we
It just felt a little different.
Yeah.
I think that had there been more people asking questions, a little bit of engaging, those first nights, you kind of connect with the people around you and you get little things going, and it missed that. And I think it would have been more fun with other people.
Yeah.
So that's nothing to do with whether you should do it or not. I think it was a worthwhile experience in that respect. I would just probably, if possible, get the earlier one next time, except that cuts into your dinner.
It does.
Do the opposite of your dinner.
Yeah.
That's really the advice, is do the opposite.
Like he was saying with the first night, that's when you're meeting the people you bump into on the ship the rest of the trip. And it's kind of fun to, well, I mean, like when you enjoy a cocktail, it's kind of nice to meet other people who enjoy a cocktail and then have something to talk about.
That's right. Speaking of enjoying cocktails, after Prima Notte, we decided to go to the Palo bar and have a cocktail with Guillermo. At this point, we had met Guillermo earlier. I think we had established a little rapport with him. He knew who we were. He waved at us, waved us over. This is where we learned there is no Meridian bar. The bar is in Palo.
Right. Like on the Dream and the Fantasy, because there's 2 restaurants, they have Palo and Remy. They have the Meridian bar in the middle for you to wait for your reservation to be called. On the smaller ships, the Wonder and the Magic, there's just the bar in Palo.
Right.
And you can go to it without a reservation at dinner, but I think it would be really awkward.
Yeah, you're actually going into the restaurant.
Yeah.
It's not set to the side.
And it's a tiny bar.
Right, and it's not like you can go there and eat your meal. That's not what this is meant to be, a place to have a few drinks if you get there a little early.
And you're waiting for
your table. But there's no rule that you can't do it. So since it was the end of the night, there's only a couple people still having their meals. We went up and had a drink with Guillermo. So after our drinks at the Palo bar, we had big plans. We had in our minds, we were going to go back to our rooms. We were going to get some casual clothes. We were going to go bar hop around for a while. We got to our room. We saw our pajamas. The veranda looked good. I think we had a bottle of wine. And we just called it a night. Sometimes that's the best way to end your night.
Absolutely.
And so that was our Prima Notte experience. Would you do it again?
Yeah, I'd do it again. It's not something, if I miss out on the reservation, that I'd feel super bummed about. It's not like the must do.
Yeah.
But like you mentioned, each one's going to be a little different. So, I mean, I'd love to hear how it was different for other people. Was it a good representation of it, or because it was just us? Was it, I don't know.
It just felt a little different.
It felt a little rushed. I mean, it was neat to have the ear of the sommelier all to ourselves.
We were able to ask questions and get our answers.
But he was also, dinner service was
Still going
on, so he was having to go help other people too.
Yep. Yeah, I think I would do it again, but for me, what's most important is that your first day on the cruise, I like to have something.
Yeah.
Whether it's the champagne
You're
class.
kicking off your vacation.
Yeah, I want to kick it off somehow.
Yeah.
And so for me, I like to have something that first night. This time it was Prima Notte. If next time it was something else, I'd be totally cool with that. But I would do this again.
Yeah, I would too.
So,
I would too.
did you do Prima Notte? Did you enjoy it? Tell us what you did, what you
Yeah,
had.
absolutely.
Is there something better that we should have done?
There might be something, because like you said, we hadn't heard about this until recently. Is there another like secret meetup that we don't know about?
It's like a Club 33 on board that we just don't know. So let us know. Give us a comment. Let us know what you did, if you've enjoyed it. If you watch this video and you decide, I'm going to go do Prima Notte now, then maybe give us a like or a subscribe. Because if we gave you that quality information, just imagine all the other junk we could serve you. Oh, really,
We're full of it.
We love to talk about our experiences, and if it is helpful, just let us know. We would appreciate it.
Yeah.
It does feel good to hear that. So, thanks a lot. We'll see you at the next video. Bye. Hello. We recently did a tour.
Try that again.
Yeah. Hello. No. It's not. I don't think it's complaining. I think it's giving our impression, right? And not everything is and unicorns. Like sometimes we did get some pizza.
Yeah.
Went down, saw the.
That wasn't
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll say
that. Was
that.
after the whiskey tasting.
Oh yeah. Okay, that doesn't matter. Then they don't know.
Yeah.
They weren't there. So what did we do afterwards? Go back to our room and sleep?
I think so. Or did we go to another bar?
Well,
I mean, our lack of memory is telling me that
all right.
we probably drink. Well, but I think we did just go. Didn't we go back to change clothes and decide that jammies looked good?
That's probably what it was.
Yeah.
All right.